Hey everyone, welcome to Malleus Gaming. I'm your host Malleus, and today in Total Tactics we're going to be taking a look at some Viking tactics with the Boar's Head Wedge formation. This was used by the Nordic Iron Age Vikings as well as other Germanic peoples of the time. In this video I'll be going over the history of the formation as well as how to adapt it for use in Total War Warhammer 3. Real quick before we start, if you enjoy the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends, as it will really help out the channel and appease the YouTube algorithm gods. Now, Valhalla awaits! Known in Old Norse as the Svinfylking, the Boar's Head, or Boar's Snout, was an infantry formation related to the classic Wedge formation. I've previously gone over the Wedge formation in my Infantry Tactics and Formations video. You can find the link in the top right of the screen here, as well as in the description below. Overall, the Boar's Head follows the same principles, being a triangular formation designed to punch through opposing infantry battle lines. Its name is taken from the Svinfylking warriors. These were men who took the boar as a totem of sorts and went into battle as shamanic warriors. They were deemed sacred to the Vanir gods, particularly Freyr, and were comparable to the legendary berserkers, or the wolfskin-clad Ulfhednar. It should be said that I am not a historian, and in my research for this video I found accounts saying that this wasn't a real formation actually used by the Vikings. At the same time, though, I found far more accounts saying that this was used by the Vikings, and there's nothing in particular about this that would lead to me assuming they couldn't do it. Wedges, after all, have been in use since the time of the ancient Greeks, and the historical Germanic peoples made use of the tactic against the Romans. Regardless of whether or not this was real, it's still a really cool topic to look into. The Svinfylking formation was made up of a group of heavily armed and armored warriors who formed the iconic triangular wedge shape. Unlike traditional wedges, which were typically hollow, the Svinfylking had light infantry such as archers within it. These ranged troops were protected by the heavy infantry and were able to weaken the enemy lines from afar, making it easier for the formation to punch through. The Boar's Head was vulnerable to being flanked, and so units of spear-armed infantry would be deployed either side of the main wedge. Multiple Svinfylkings could be deployed next to each other in order to cause multiple breakthroughs. Another weakness, however, was that these formations were dependent on speed and surprise. Should they not be able to break through the enemy quickly enough, the Vikings became vulnerable to being overwhelmed and would not be able to last much longer. Now, let's see how we can make use of this. So let's keep the three aspects of the Svinfylking in mind. Heavy infantry form the wedge, ranged units shelter behind them and weaken the enemy. Spear-armed infantry deploy either side of the wedge and protect against enemy flankers. I can't think of a better faction to showcase this Viking formation than the Marauders of Norsca. After all, they are Warhammer's take on the Vikings. In my initial small-scale test, I found that being able to punch through your opponent's line quickly really is invaluable. The leading unit getting bogged down by elite troops able to withstand them causes the battle to turn into a more traditional grind. It's at this point that your ranged and flanking troops really come into play, as they can then maneuver to surround the enemy. Provided, of course, that the enemy doesn't have anything to stop them. For the big battle, I've decided to take some additional inspiration from Norse mythology and add in more units to represent the other god-touched warriors I mentioned earlier, the berserkers and the Ulfhednar. Also, forgive my pronunciation for all these Norse terms. We're going to have 3 Svinfylking wedges for this, one made up of 3 Marauder champion units, led by Wulfric, one consisting of 3 Marauder berserkers, led by a shaman with the lore of metal, and the last consisting of 3 units of armored skin wolves led by a skin wolf weirkin. Rounding out the army will be 4 units of marauder hunters with javelins and 4 units of marauder spearmen. Our Boar's Head army is going to be facing off against an equally costed Cathayan force, consisting of a balanced amount of heavy infantry, ranged, and cavalry units, along with a terracotta sentinel. Ooh, I love the sound of those horns. March up, boys! We've got our wedges moving up. We've got our Berserker Wedge, our Marauder Champion Wedge led by Wulfric in the trees, and just beyond that we've got our Skin Wolf Wedge. I love these guys. They look so cool. I love werewolves. And technically I think these guys aren't werewolves, but whatever. I think they're amazing. Let's see, Cathayan's casting a spell. I'm not overly familiar with them, so I don't know what spell that is, but it looks like it's going to do a lot of damage. They're readdressing their lines. I've got cavalry and a sentinel and some infantry on the side with the berserkers. Here comes a Wulfric and the skin wolves. I know I shouldn't have charged them in to this halberdier unit, but I did anyways, and literally as I was doing it, I was like, this is a stupid idea. But here we are. Got my 3rd skin wolf unit running past. Here come my marauder champions engaging their lines. Javelins flying forth. Berserkers, some of them have been intercepted by the cavalry and the sentinel. I've got another unit moving past them. This is a kind of a bad match for them. And for some reason, some of the Cathayan flying cavalry aren't landing. Oh, the moves on that sentinel are so cool. I got a unit of berserkers who were able to get in, engaged with Iron Hail gunners there. And here we just got a big scrum going on. Our champions engaged with their halberdiers and jade warriors. Trying to get my javelins around to toss some spears. My skin wolves are still engaged with the halberdiers. One unit has snuck by, is engaged with their crossbows in the rear line. Iron Hail gunners are running away, and their sniper gunners are shooting at my shaman over here. He's going to be running away soon. That sentinel is so cool. Berserkers are berserking. I've lost control of them. But my hunters are doing a lot of damage against the sentinel. Lots of fancy moves for a big guy, but he doesn't like being hit by spears. They have an anti-large bonus to their spears, so that's really helping out here. And there he goes. He squished one of the berserkers as he fell. Oh my god, that's awesome. Alright, looks like we're still engaged in the center. The Cathayans are holding, but not for much longer. Skin wolves have come around the flank. I believe the Cathayan lines are collapsing at this point. Not too many of them left to hold off. Skin wolf Weirkin prowling the battlefield. I'm trying to get him to chase down the Cathayan Lord. Looks like he missed. Just a couple of troops left, but it looks like that is the army break. And the Norskins have won. There was a very chaotic battle. Let's see, here goes our Weirkin trying to get the coup de grace. And there it is. Victory goes to the Norskins, who ended up taking 359 casualties or 31.5% of their force lost. The Cathayans, on the other hand, lost 675 troops, or 70% of their army. The three different parts of the Norscan army each played out rather differently, and in hindsight I probably should have swapped the two flanking wedges with each other. The Svinfylking with the Berserkers had to deal with a fair amount of cavalry and the Sentinel, against which their bonus versus infantry was useless. While they did eliminate what they were facing, they also took the most casualties of the three groups. The Marauder champions in the center were unable to break through, but they did hold on for the whole battle and took some significant casualties. Even with Wulfric, they just didn't have the offensive power to punch through the Cathayan line. The last Svinfylking with the Skin Wolves, I would say did the best, even with me charging them into some halberdiers. They were able to push through and get into the enemy's back lines, eliminating their ranged troops. Without that, I'm fairly sure the rest of the army would have been destroyed by missile fire since they were pinned in place. Overall, I want to look more into this tactic. Ironically enough, I don't feel the Norscan infantry can make the most out of this, either lacking the punch or the armor required. Throwing in more monsters would be ideal, maybe remaking this into a Troll's Head formation instead. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys, and what factions you think could make better use of this. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more content like this, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends, as it will really help out the channel. If you have any feedback, or if there are any particular topics you'd like to see covered, let me know in the comments. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!